Hi everybody, I'm AJ Hanna from Symphony Ventures. Welcome back to AskAJ. And maybe it's just that I'm tired of the weather and ready for warm weather to come permanently. It's still early spring here in Indiana, and I'm really ready for it to stay above 60 degrees, period, for a while. But I've been feeling a little chippy lately, and it got me thinking about some of the things, especially some of the things that I hear and have heard over the years that can really kind of drive you bats if you're trying to run an automation program. We'll do this in a couple of episodes. The first episode today, I want to talk about some things related to the technology. And the first one, if you are currently running an automation shop that has bots in production, have had bots in production for a while, I'm sure that you have heard this. Somehow, on a given day, all of a sudden, the bots aren't producing the amount of work that they've produced before, or they're not producing anything at all, or they're throwing off lots of exceptions. And so the first thing that often gets said is, well, the bot is broken. Bot's not broken in many cases. So let's talk about that. This technology has proven to be very stable. And while, like any other software, especially when releases happen, there may be bugs that cause the software not to work as effectively or the way it was designed. But truthfully, when you start digging into a lot of those situations, what you find out more often than not is that a change has been made to that process that the bot wasn't informed of, or the bot fleet wasn't informed of. Again, that's why I've taken very seriously this idea of referring to your bot fleet as your digital workers or your digital workforce. You don't make changes to your process environment and not tell the humans that you've got doing the work. We're not always diligent enough about assuring that the robots are informed as well. And so in a lot of the cases that I've been involved with when I ran my program, when we went back and looked at the reason why the bot all of a sudden wasn't working as well as it was expected to is because some change had happened in the process, and no change management had been utilized to make sure that the bot fleet knew about it. So I would encourage any of you on the operations side who are working with bots to be more cautious about just immediately going to the bot is broken. While that technically may be true, what really is true is that it's broken because it wasn't given the kind of maintenance and care that it needed and that you have to give it in order to make sure it's functioning properly. The second thing is really more about either people very early on in their process or perhaps haven't jumped in. And I hear this more and more today with all of the buzz around so-called artificial intelligence. And that's when you're talking to people and you ask them at what stage they are and if they haven't started yet, and their response is, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to jump straight to AI. Okay, we've talked about that before. What exactly do you mean when you say jumping to AI? As we know, most people are talking about machine learning. The problem with that is that it implies a level of simplicity about implementing the technology that just doesn't exist. It's just not as easy as people think. In the same way, it's not as easy to implement RPA as what many people think. You just don't implement AI. Most organizations don't. You've got to think about your data. What data do you have? What data don't you have? Because it's all about the data if you're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning. And for many organizations, they think they're going to be able to just bypass all the initial steps and move straight to the higher end technologies when maybe their environment isn't ready yet for that activity. So I'm always curious when I hear from people that they're bypassing things like RPA or RDA and going straight to artificial intelligence. Just what they've done, just what kind of environment they've worked in that allows themselves to have the kind of data that you need to be successful at artificial intelligence tools or with machine learning. So that's just a start. We'll not do too many of these at any given time. Next time we'll talk about some of the things that you experience as you're trying to approach the processes that you're looking to automate. But if you have any of your own that kind of steam you when you hear them, please feel free to drop them in the comments in LinkedIn or on Twitter and Facebook, where you can follow me at AskAJ Hanna, no H on the end. We'll talk to you again next time.